The show piqued my interest when I saw that Melissa Roxburgh was in it. She starred in Manifest, plus the show reminded me of Alcatraz, which I really enjoyed, but sadly was short-lived. I really wanted more seasons of that. And I like the actors too that were in Alcatraz. The Hunting Party is episodic. It's a procedural where we have law enforcement tracking down criminals, so it clearly has the criminal of the week format. But there's an overarching mystery that hints that there is something involving a secretive government program that is more than meets the eye. So if you like the genre, this could easily be a fit for you. The show starts off fast. It opens in a prison, but it's not your ordinary prison. The guards wheel Richard Harris in. He has a sheet over his body as if he's coming from the morgue. And originally I thought he was dead. But when they pull the sheet off, we see that his legs and arms are clamped to a gurney, and he has a barcode on his foot. He is released into his cell, and it doesn't have any bars. The door is solid metal, and inside there are 3 walls and a one-way mirror, and no cellmates. At least I don't think there are any. The structure itself is cylindrical, and the mirrors are there because, well, on the other side, it looks like it has some kind of like observation booth, and they can see inside all the cells. It's called the Pit, and it's actually an underground nuclear silo. This structure is really impressive. But unfortunately, we don't see much more of it because it gets destroyed. The structure blows up, and that's what sets everything in motion. Some of the prisoners escape, and they only know the identity of one of them. It's the prisoner that we saw from the start, and that's because Harris left his jumpsuit behind when he swapped out clothes as he was escaping. Now, this is where our main character comes in. Melissa Roxburgh plays Rebecca Henderson. She's an ex-FBI profiler who is currently working the security section of a casino. What we have is the demoted or disgraced cop who gets pulled back in type of character, and that's a real popular trope for this genre. When we first see her, we witness her profiling or her observational skills. She's able to catch someone cheating at the card table. But luckily for her, she's pulled back in. That's because several years ago, she was part of a team who first captured Richard Harris. That's the prisoner we saw in the opening scene. Oliver Odell was the primary agent who captured Harris, but she was there working alongside him. Now we get the impression that whatever happened to her career was connected to Agent Odell. And we learn more as the episode continues. We get flashbacks. But at this moment, we find out that this prisoner is a serial killer who is supposed to be dead. He already received the death penalty. Henderson doesn't know why they brought her in to ask questions about a dead man. It doesn't make any sense to her, so she is very surprised when she finds out that he's actually alive. And then they offer her a job to help find him. And of course, she wants to return to being an FBI agent again, so she takes the job. She's assigned to work with Agent Hassani. They also add Shane Florence, who was a prison guard. These 3 are going to make up the crux of the team, and they each bring their own skill to the table. But we do learn that something bad happened to the prisoners. During the episode, Harris alluded to that during a standoff, and Florence, the prison guard on their team, tells him that he had seen some things, that the inmates were being experimented on. Now, he didn't get a chance to elaborate, which is pretty common in a lot of shows where they give you like a piece of information and then they're interrupted and we don't get the whole thing, but at least we know that part. He also said that the inmates had undergone therapy sessions and that these sessions were recorded. And now I can see how these tapes will become a great source of information as we are introduced to different prisoners. In this episode, they finish off this case. It doesn't dangle, it's solved. The prisoner isn't going to be an ongoing nemesis. Plus, they have other prisoners that have escaped. Therefore, our team will have to track them down, and that's what the future episodes will be about. But then we also have this ongoing mystery that's kind of like serialized, that's kind of baked into the story. So we're going to see it grow and expand with each episode. We need to know things like what experiments are being done, what agency is behind it, or what nefarious group. I'm guessing that if the government needs to pretend that these people are dead, then whatever they're up to wouldn't be sanctioned by the public. And because it's so secretive, they can't even use law enforcement for some of these people. Richard Harris, for instance, let's look at that character. He's supposed to be executed. So they couldn't tell anybody he was alive. You can't put an APB out on a dead man. And in general, I do like the trope of the secret government agency or some nefarious group, some cabal of evil people doing something. Now, toward the end, we see her old partner. He shows up. And we find out more. We find out that he saved a 13-year-old girl. And in order to do that, he crossed the line with a kidnapper. And because of that, he's no longer with the FBI. But ultimately, Henderson ended up adopting that girl that was saved. And therefore, Henderson does have this family element. She has this daughter, and that humanizes her. All in all, the pilot gives us a good picture of what's going to happen each week. Henderson, along with Hassani and Florence, they're going to hunt down the escapee of the week while the secrets of the pit unfold. We might learn that there are other prisons as well. This may not be the only pit. There could be a lot of them. And maybe in other countries, we don't know. And that actually would be interesting because I like to see a little bit more of them. Just when we're introduced to this incredible facility, it gets blown up. So we never really got to see too much of it. And we're also given an opportunity for some personal conflict because Odell asked her for help. Now, she has not gotten over what he did in the past, and they may end up working together in part anyhow. This could be like the enemy to friend vibe. That's what I'm getting. That's how I'm feeling when I'm watching these two talk to each other. Or maybe it's like a friend to enemy to friend vibe, and the friend is actually more than a friend. Maybe it turns into a love interest. Maybe this is a relationship that would be interesting because, it started off with a conflict. And a lot of times these relationships that start off with people who don't like each other, it's kind of fun to watch that, watch the chemistry grow. So we'll see how that plays out. But there are 3 men. Hassani is married or comes across that way. He has 3 children. So that probably leaves Florence or Odell. Not that we need a love interest, but it's kind of baked into a lot of shows. I just hope that it's not a love triangle. I wasn't a fan of that on Manifest. For any of you that watch Manifest out there, it was like, just pick one already. And then she did, and then I felt bad for the other guy, but I liked her with both of them. That was crazy. But anyway, I just want one guy. Don't give me a triangle. I don't want a triangle. So hopefully we don't get that here. Now, Adele tells Henderson that the prison, or the pit as they call it, may not have blown up by accident. After all, it's a nuclear silo, and that's not easy to destroy. Odell believes it was purposely bombed for a prison break. Somebody wanted those killers out. Now we have even more questions. Who bombed it, and why did they want the prisoners free? Is there a particular inmate they wanted free, or could it be just the ending of the experiments altogether? Now, Adele has seen a list of inmates that have escaped, and it's larger than what they are letting on, and they don't want any of this getting out. So that begs the questions. How much of this does Hassani know? How deep in this program is he? Can she trust him? The plot thickens. All in all, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I can see where this can be a really good show. Every week is a different killer. But that mystery, that conspiracy theory, I think that's something that can get people to come back again. Thank you for watching.